I am back talking about addiction, recovery, relapse, redemption, and dedicating this to those who have lost their struggle with addiction, including my late husband. This is his journal or workbook from one of the 12-step programs or inpatient programs he was in. As far as I know, he has been in 11. Believe that there are more that I'm unaware of. I'm sure I will find out the official total as soon as I go through all of his items. But this, he wrote on here, Nate Nasty Dog. This is not my husband. Never heard himself say nasty dog. Never heard himself say, go get me some candy. He's obviously not talking about the candy you eat. During his last relapse, actually, I'm going to save that to the end because nobody knows what I found after his last relapse. I will save that to the end. Let me go ahead and read some of his words that I have from him. So this is just with regards to his living area during active addiction. What are the problems in your living area and following areas? Close proximity to an alcohol vendor is his problem, at least the time where he was living. Social. Most social situations are at places that serve alcohol. Occupational. Close proximity to an alcohol vendor. This is where he works. Financial. Minimal bills make for money available after alcohol purchases. Neighborhood. Again, a close proximity to an alcohol vendor. Seeing the connection here, no money because of alcohol. Everywhere he is, work, living, neighborhood, social events, alcohol is around. His entire life revolved around alcohol. Recovery support. Some meetings. I've not read this. Some meetings are within a close proximity to alcohol. Necessities for living. Food, shelter, clothing. Some places where you buy food also sell alcohol. And I'm going to insert my own little tidbit right here. Since COVID and during COVID, I noticed that alcohol is everywhere in stores. For example, Target placed more alcohol on the end caps. Walgreens, CVS has little spiral, I don't know what they're called, displays that have the mini shots, the fireball shots of alcohol. Alcohol, if you notice, compared to pre-COVID, alcohol is everywhere you go now. I chose to stop shopping at some stores because of the amount of alcohol they have there. One of them would be Walmart. And then I did stop going to Target for a while, and including Walgreens. And it's not there for easy purchase for the regular consumer. It's there for the easy purchase of addicts because alcohol sales increased so much during COVID. Okay, list up to 10 ways your current living environment hurts your recovery efforts. I lose proximity to alcohol, access to money. Only social friends are recovering addicts. In what way do your peers and family increase your risk of relapse? Family is somewhat disappointed. Only friends that I've made in the area have been in treatment facilities. I feel like I am in the way sometimes. It's hard to find sober friends. I need accountability with my money. What are some actions you can take to improve these things? Start with a halfway house. Socialize with church peers. Stay in contact with a sponsor. Submit ATR application. I don't know what ATR application is. Find a home group. Interesting. So now we're going to go over his medical assessment that was with this as well. When you stop using, what happens? I get shakes. I have a headache. I vomit, anxiety, sleeplessness, and seizures. Have you had treatment before? Yes. For mental health? Yes. He's had treatment for anxiety, depression, and alcoholism. Have you had suicidal thoughts? No. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your motivation with regards to recovery? 10. Why are you in treatment now? Relapsed since last treatment. Do you believe you are an alcoholic or addict? Yes. I don't have the ability to stop drinking once I start. Has your legal involvement been due to your use? Yes. Do you have a probation or parole officer? Yes. Do you have cravings? Yes. Interesting. He rates his craving on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the strongest, as a 2. Very interesting. Do you have a preoccupation with wanting to use at the present? No. The rating is a 1. Have you been seeking out any type of drugs? For example, Tylenol every 4 hours, cold tablets, etc. And here he put no, and the rating is 1. Interesting, because when he is not using, he is taking Advil, at least 4 tablets every, or 2 to 3 times a day. He was taking Advil. I know because I saw it, number 1, and then I would have to, when I went to the store, he would let me know that he needed more Advil. I don't know how that correlates. I would know it. At one point I looked up if Advil was linked to addiction. I did not find anything, but it's interesting. It's in these recovery documents. The other item, he was prescribed a benzo. So yes, he does seek out drugs. Benzos, Klonopin. Have you had periods of abstinence? Yes. 2. And for how long? At this time, it was 1 to 2 months. So the longest I've known is 6.5 years. And that's it, since he was a teenager. 6.5 years of abstinence. And he passed away at 44. Are you aware of any of your relapse triggers, symptoms, signs? Yes. Anxious events that cause me stress. Do you have any brothers and sisters? I have 1 brother, 1 sister, and 1 stepsister. How is your relationship with them? My brother is my best friend. I see my half-sister about once a year and my stepsister about every 2 years. What about your mother and father? How is your relationship? I live with my mother and keep frequent long-distance relationships with my father. If you could change one thing about your family when you were growing up, what would that have been? Being able to spend more time with each of them. Why do you feel your family are or are not supportive? My family has always been supportive no matter what, because blood is thicker than water. I'm currently attending the Riverside Treatment Center. Are your culture, family values, beliefs, and customs important to you? Yes. I learned all of my strong family values from my family. What is the highest degree you completed? At the time, so he had a college degree, but he did end up, during his 6.5 years of sobriety, he did get his master's in biblical studies. Do you have any learning disabilities? No. I am currently unemployed. How has your use affected your employment and education? It has hindered the potential I displayed in each. And I will highlight on this from what I read during one of his other testimonies. So feel free to go check out those videos. Actually, I'll link one of them at the very end. So with regards to his employment, he would use during when he worked all the time. So he would drink about 48 ounces of vodka or a 6-pack of beer before he went to work. And then during his lunch breaks, he would drink. He would take his lunch break and go drink. And then after work, he would drink. And then he could not go more than 1 to 2 hours without a drink. So he would go to sleep and then wake up and drink, go to sleep, etc. The other item with regards to education, he lost his soccer scholarship because of his drinking. So he did get, in his college years, he did go to college on a soccer scholarship, and he lost that scholarship because of his drinking. What do you do with your time? So currently, at the time he wrote this, it was exercise, read, and watch TV. By the way, it's beautiful outside, which is why I'm recording this out here. And the light is changing, and I'm not going to change any filters on it because I'm doing this raw. But yes, my light is changing because the sun is setting. It's just gorgeous. And remember, stick around to the end because I want to explain to you what was on his phone that I found that nobody else knows about. Do you have any experience with self-help groups? Yes, I do. Yes, AA. Do you have a sponsor? No. I need to be responsible for myself on my own and in my own place. So at the time he was living with his mom and his stepdad. 5 things you need to work on in treatment: fighting triggers, finding ways to deal with anxiety, staying away from people who use, stay away from places that sell alcohol, which is incredibly hard. Almost every place sells alcohol, besides maybe Barnes and Noble. Every place sells alcohol. And then the other item is finding a support group. Now, I will let you know, again, this is Nate. I will continue to go unpack all of Nate's recovery documents and read them firsthand to everybody. And sometimes I can do it and I calm and collected, and other times I break down and cry. For those of you who have contacted me, thank you. While it's difficult to read, it is very beneficial at I shouldn't say the goal. What I want to share is the rawness of going through any type of issue, or the rawness of going through and reading what it looks like in the eyes of an addict, reading the words from an addict. And I want the rawness from somebody who has lost. Nate died from alcohol abuse. His body was found so badly decomposed, they could not. I had to identify him by a tattoo. He was alone. He had been there for almost 4 weeks, we believe. There's not an exact timeline because he was so badly decomposed. So I'm reading this showing either A, if you're addicted, this is what the addiction, I know it does a lot to you, but this is also how it affects loved ones. But then also, if you're a loved one struggling with somebody who's in addiction, if they're in active addiction, I recommend you get out. Highly recommend you get out, you get help, you get yourself treatment, you put up a boundary, and you get help. During Nate's relapses, I did put up big boundaries. I filed for divorce every single time, and I had full custody of the children during those times. And we did go through some counseling, and the few times that I did go back were after he had been sober for a certain amount of time. And so, with that being said, I will share with you something that I was unaware of. And when I found out, it ripped me in half. Nathan struggles with alcohol. He struggles with pills. He struggles with drugs. He struggles with gambling. Those are the things that I am fully aware of. Remember, on this folder, it has "Get me some candy." I have Nate's old phone, and I was in there. I can't remember what I was looking for. After he passed, I was trying to get as much information as possible because I was not with him. I didn't have any banking information. I did not have any information because we had been out of his life for almost a year. So I was looking in his phone, and there was a dark app, and it was a dark brown color. I can't remember the name. And I clicked on it, and it had hidden apps within that app. One of them was called Never Jerk Off Alone. I clicked on it, and it showed somebody's bedroom with a timer counting down to when that person would go live, and the reviewers in that room. I had no idea this existed, nor did I know that he was watching these things. I don't know how long that was on his phone. So the phone that I have is the phone when he relapsed. He had a new phone, and then I have an old phone. He never turned in his old phone. So I had his old phone prior to his relapse. So prior to his relapse, this was in his phone, and he had it in. There were 3 other apps. I cannot remember their names. It was the same type of app. Same type of app. Watching women. I did not wait to see what the women were doing. Watching women and people do things of an intimate nature in order to get a high off of it and to get off. And that is something nobody knows. I was devastated. I cannot believe that my loving husband, because he was doing this when we were married, when he was quote unquote sober, this was in his phone in a hidden app. Hidden. And I had no idea. It is not okay. And if you are struggling, I encourage you to get help now. Tune in. I'm going to put a link to his testimony at the end here. Also, tune in. I am going to continue as much as I can to read his words for everybody, hoping that this will help those who are struggling in active addiction, who are maybe recovered and are struggling with triggers, or anybody who is struggling trying to get out of or is out of an active addiction relationship. Comment below if there's something specific you want me to discuss. I will be happy to do a video about it. I am an open book.